If you think fast cars have to wear giant wings, poppy exhausts, and a badge from Japan or Germany, it's time to wake up. Today we're talking about 5 American sleepers that will straight up embarrass the guy in the next lane while looking like something your neighbor's dad drives to work. Whether you're a hardcore JDM addict or just a teen gearhead on a budget, these cars prove speed doesn't have to scream for attention. Stick around, because number 5 is a Cadillac that hides Corvette DNA, and it might be the best deal of them all. Let's kick things off with a car absolutely nobody sees coming, the Chevrolet HHR SS. At first glance, it looks like a retro grocery getter, almost like a PT Cruiser's tougher cousin, a throwback wagon inspired by Chevy's 1940s panel vans. Most people think cute delivery car, not secret street weapon. But in 2008, GM's performance division decided to get a little wild and slipped in a 2.0-liter turbocharged Ecotec engine good for 260 horsepower. That might not sound earth-shattering next to today's turbo Civics, but back then it was serious heat, especially when you remember the HHR SS came only with a 5-speed manual and an optional limited slip differential. This wasn't just a dressed-up grocery hauler, it was built to play. Here's where it gets even cooler. The chassis and suspension were dialed in on Germany's Nürburgring Nordschleife, the legendary Green Hell, where Porsches and GTRs chase lap records. That means this quirky wagon can genuinely carve corners. From the outside, it still screams delivery van. But once you're behind the wheel, the HHR SS can shock everything from WRXs to GTIs. Stock for stock, it runs the quarter mile in the high 13-second range, and with a simple ECU tune that little Ecotec easily cracks, 300 horsepower, turning the sleeper factor up to 11. Slide inside, and you'll find more surprises. Supportive sport seats keep you planted, a fat steering wheel feels sporty in your hands, and a factory boost gauge on the A-pillar gives a cheeky wink to the turbo under the hood. For teens and young enthusiasts, that's instant cool points like a built-in flex every time the needle jumps. And the best part, prices are still friendly. You can score a clean example for well under 10 grand, and because it shares parts with other GM compacts, maintenance and upgrades, stay budget-friendly. That makes it perfect for a first performance project or a daily driver that secretly hauls. Add a tune, better tires, and maybe a louder exhaust, and you've got a legit sleeper that will leave your friends scratching their heads. Think of it as a hot hatch, wearing a retro disguise, your aunt's errand wagon on the outside, but a true turbocharged troublemaker underneath. Among American sleepers, the HHR SS is one of the most unexpected, and that's exactly what makes it so much fun. Next up, the Dodge Magnum SRT-8, a muscle-bound station wagon that completely redefined what a family hauler could be. At first glance, you'd swear it's just a long, low grocery getter built for Costco runs and school drop-offs. But under that subtle sheet, metal hides something far more dangerous. A 6.1-liter Hemi V8, pushing a factory-rated 425 horsepower and a deep exhaust note that'll rattle the neighborhood before you even turn the corner. When Dodge dropped the SRT-8 in 2006, the automotive press was floored. Here was a full-size wagon that could rip 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds flat numbers that embarrassed plenty of sports cars of the era. It shares the LX platform with the Charger and Chrysler 300C, so it's got solid bones and surprisingly sharp handling for something that can swallow a mountain bike whole. That means you can load up the crew, the gear, and maybe even the family dog, then roast a Mustang on the way home from soccer practice. And the sleeper vibes, perfect. From a distance, you'll notice just a hint of aggression. A slightly bulged hood, 20-inch wheels, and that long roofline. But nothing that screams, "I'm packing 425 horsepower." Hit the throttle, though, and you're greeted with the unmistakable rumble of old-school big-block torque. The kind of soundtrack that turns heads and makes you grin every time. The best part for enthusiasts is that the Magnum SRT-8 has aged into a killer value. Well-maintained examples can still be found in the mid-teens, giving you a ton of car for the money. And like any good Hemi, the aftermarket loves it. Headers, cams, cold air intakes, or even a supercharger kit, this engine takes mods like a champ and rewards every extra pound of boost with ridiculous power gains. If you're a JDM fan who drools over wagons like the Nissan Stagea or Subaru Legacy GT, think of the Magnum SRT-8 as America's rear-drive V8-powered answer. It's got the same family car on the outside street weapon underneath personality, but with a classic Detroit thunder that makes every grocery run feel like a drag strip pass. Sliding to something smaller, but every bit as rowdy, meet the Dodge Neon SRT-4. When it dropped in 2003, people literally laughed a Neon seriously. The regular Neon was a cheap commuter car your grandma might drive, not a street hero. But Dodge's street and racing technology team had other plans. They cranked the humble Neon up to 11 with a turbocharged 2.4-liter four-cylinder that punched out 230 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. All of that went straight to the front wheels through a tough 5-speed manual and a factory-limited slip diff. No automatic option, no fluff, just pure boost and gears. Back then, a factory turbo compact making that kind of power was wild. Remember, this was the early 2000s. Civics and GTIs were still well under 200 horsepower. And even Subaru's WRX had to watch its back. The SRT-4 could rip quarter miles in the high 13s, deliver brutal mid-range punch, and fill the air with addicting wastegate chatter. It didn't just surprise people. It embarrassed cars twice the price and instantly became a cult classic. For teen gearheads and tuning fans, here's where it gets even better. The SRT-4 is basically a blank canvas. Intake, exhaust, bigger turbo, proper tune, and you're staring at 300 to 350 wheel horsepower without even touching the bottom end. The aftermarket scene went crazy for these cars, and with the right mods, they'll hang with modern hot hatches or even some V8 muscle. Today, you can still hunt down a solid example for well under 10 grand, though you'll need to look carefully because many have been thrashed or heavily modified. Sure, the interior is bare bones, and the ride can be rough, but that just adds to the Street Fighter vibe. It feels raw mechanical and a little unhinged, exactly what you want in a turbo compact. For anyone who grew up loving JDM icons like the Evo Integra Type R or Turbo Civics, the Neon SRT-4 is America's counterpunch, a cheap, cheerful way to embarrass cars twice the price while grinning the whole time. Sliding from compact chaos to full-size muscle, let's slow down and spotlight one of the greatest modern sleepers ever built, the Pontiac G8. Most people in the U.S. never realized it, but this car actually started life on the other side of the planet as the Australian Holden Commodore. Pontiac borrowed the platform, gave it a fresh badge, and sold it here for only 2 short years. That limited run makes the G8 a rare piece of Pontiac history, and the brand's last big swing before disappearing altogether. Pop the hood, and things get even more interesting. The standard GT model packs a stout 6.0-liter LS2 V8 with 361 horsepower, a motor famous for bulletproof reliability and huge tuning potential. But if you're lucky enough to find the Unicorn GXP, you're looking at the mighty 6.2-liter LS3 with 415 horsepower, and get this, a proper 6-speed manual. That's basically a 4-door Corvette you can haul groceries in. Performance numbers tell the story: 0-60 in about 4.7 seconds and quarter-mile passes in the low 13s bone stock. And it's not just straight-line speed. Thanks to its Aussie engineering, the G8 drives with surprising sophistication. The suspension, steering, and brakes feel far more European than American. Think BMW M5 vibes with a muscle car soundtrack. Because Pontiac shut down after 2009, these cars are already cult favorites. Clean GTs usually trade in the high teens to low 20s, while the ultra-rare GXPs pull a premium. Enthusiasts love them because the LS platform is a blank canvas. Add a tune, intake, and exhaust, and you're easily pushing 450-plus horsepower without cracking the engine open. For JDM fans who obsess over sleeper sedans like the Toyota Chaser or Lexus GS, the Pontiac G8 offers that same stealth luxury attitude, but backs it up with a deep, burly American V8 rumble. It's the perfect mix of refinement and raw power proof that sometimes the best JDM-style sleeper doesn't even come from Japan. Finally, we wrap this sleeper lineup with a car that flipped Cadillac's image on its head, the first-generation Cadillac CTS-V. Before the CTS-V showed up in 2004, Cadillac was known mainly for plush cruisers aimed at retirees. Then GM's performance engineers went a little wild and decided to drop a Corvette Z06 LS6 V8 into a compact luxury sedan. Overnight, Cadillac went from golf course shuttle to serious track weapon. Under the hood lives the legendary 5.7-liter LS6, pumping out a factory-rated 400 horsepower, and paired exclusively with a Tremec 6-speed manual, no automatics allowed. This wasn't some soft boulevard boat either. Cadillac fitted Brembo brakes, a sport-tuned suspension, and even fine-tuned the chassis at the Nürburgring. Imagine the same green hell testing ground used by supercars, but this time for a leather-lined American sedan. The results were shocking for the era 0-60 in the mid-4-second range and quarter-mile passes in the low 13s right out of the showroom. From the outside, though, it barely whispers its intentions. The lines are clean. The badging subtle, no giant wings or loud graphics. Inside, you get leather modern amenities and just enough luxury to lull passengers into thinking it's a calm cruiser until you drop the clutch. For enthusiasts, that LS6 is pure gold. A simple intake exhaust and tune can unlock serious gains, and the swap potential is almost endless if you ever want to chase bigger numbers. Yet prices for well-kept examples still hover in the mid-teens to low 20s, making it one of the best deals in the performance sedan world. Think of it as America's answer to the BMW M5, only with cheaper parts and that unmistakable small-block V8 rumble. And for teens who idolize stealthy Japanese sleepers like the Toyota Aristo or Nissan Laurel, the first-gen CTS-V proves the US can absolutely play that same game, quiet luxury, on the outside, total mayhem under the hood. So, there you have it. 5 American sleepers that prove you don't need a giant wing or a Japanese badge to have serious fun. From the turbocharged quirkiness of the Chevy HHR SS to the luxury muscle blend of the Cadillac CTS-V, each of these cars offers serious performance, wrapped in a package most people will never see coming. If you're a JDM fan, consider this your invitation to cross the ocean. Because whether it's LS power, Hemi Thunder, or a spooling Turbo 4, these machines bring the same thrills you love about Japanese cars, just with a stars and stripes twist. Which one would you daily drop a comment below and tell me your pick, or share a sleeper you think deserves a spot on the list? Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more hidden gem builds, and stay tuned because next week we're diving back into some JDM goodness you won't want to miss. Until then, keep wrenching, keep driving, and remember, real speed hides in plain sight.